What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Planetary Reviews, and we are here to finally talk about one of my most cautiously enthusiastic, very hyped, but still kind of worried review of the year, Justice League. Now, we all know DC's track record with their universe and their movies has been a little all over the place for me. But you know what? Wonder Woman was great. It really made me feel really good about this universe that they're creating. And now we all know their universe is all over the place. But I want to talk about this movie. Now, the Justice League has been a huge part of my life. The cartoon was fantastic back in the day. I love the characters. I love DC. I want to see them succeed just as much as any of you DC guys that just love this series to death. And I understand why you do. I'm one of those people who love both Marvel and DC. So, I really wanted to see these guys do well. I was nervous, but I was excited sitting in that theater. Did it live up to the hype? Did it do a good job? Well, let's talk about it. First thing I'm going to start off with is that Justice League is the best word to describe this film: fun. Something that I have not been able to say about most of these DC movies other than Suicide Squad. Still had the attitude of fun, but for the most part, there's always a darker, grimmer, more serious tone to it. But this one was straight up fun. It wasn't afraid to get a little serious when it had to, but overall, this was a fun movie. It was a little bit more lighthearted. It had more humor like in the cartoon. It was really fun. I loved the tone. The tone was great. It was funny when it had to be, but then when it got serious and was down to the gritty fights and stuff like that when it had to be, it wasn't afraid to be. But it never sat there and tried too much to really make it a dark and serious film. It was a fun movie. That's exactly what I wanted out of a Justice League film. But now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the story. The story to this movie is that we are living in a post-Superman world. Superman has died, he's gone, and hope is pretty much leaving people's minds. Their hearts don't feel hope anymore. The world is getting grimmer. It's darker now. It just doesn't feel right anymore. Criminals are running around doing what they want, and there's not many people left to stop them right now. So, what Batman and Wonder Woman decide to do is go around and get a team together to fight this invasion that they find out about, led by a monster, god, whatever, named Stefan Wolf. And it's up to them to create this team and put a stop to it. That's all I'm going to say about the story. Let's talk about the performances. The performances in this movie were really, really good. I loved Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm glad he wasn't so dark and the entire film. He was more quippy. I'm not used to him being so quippy all the time. But you know what? It was good. I liked it. He had a good tone to him. He was funny. A lot of great moments with Ben Affleck's Batman. I'm really liking him. I liked his character a lot. And then we also have Gal Gadot. Her performance was fantastic. I love her as Wonder Woman. She proved herself in Batman v Superman just when she popped up for a little bit, and then she really proved herself in Wonder Woman. She does another excellent performance in this movie. Was a badass character. I loved her a lot. And then we have to talk about some of the newcomers. First up, Ezra Miller as the Flash, Barry Allen. He did a good job. I wasn't expecting to like him that much because I just grown so fond to Grant Gustin in the TV show. So I was a little, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get used to this guy. But after a while and after getting to know him a little bit, granted, I wish I got to know him more, and I still don't like him as much as the TV version. But you know what? He was funny. He was fun. He was charismatic. He had a lot of character to him. A lot of funny moments. He was a genuine kid. He wasn't used to being in these crazy moments. He was just a kid that was living life and doing little small good deeds here and there. He wasn't ready for something like this, and he shows it in this film, which is awesome. It builds up his character more, and when he finally learns to be able to be like, you know what, I am one of them. He's helping out, he's doing his thing. It makes it feel even better when he's standing amongst the greats. The next new guy we got to talk about, Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I was worried. I didn't know how they were going to do his character. They're going to do it justice. Ha, pun intended. But he did a really good job. I liked him. He had the build. He was just this big hulk of a guy. And he had this wild attitude about him. He was different than the Aquaman that I'm used to in the animated series that I've seen him in, and a couple of the comics I've read. He was just very, like, almost, not barbaric, but very just, like, I'm a wild party guy. I do what I gotta do when I have to, but for the most part, I'm living life on the edge. I don't care about what anyone says. And his attitude was really good. You could tell when he was fighting that he loved it. Deep in his heart, he is a warrior, and he loves to fight. He loves to be out there, getting that adrenaline pumping, and the way he portrayed this character was really good. I loved him as Aquaman. I was really happy with his performance, and the amount of charisma he had a lot of great funny moments, just like Ezra Miller did. And I really liked him. So let's talk about the lesser of the three of the new heroes, and that is Cyborg, played by, let me make sure I get his name right, I believe Ray Fisher. Yep, Ray Fisher. He did a good job, but I do wish he had more screen time so we could get to know him a little bit more. I feel like that was the issue with all three of these characters. While they were good and they were performed well, because of the fact that we did not have previous films with these guys to get to know them and really understand them, you really don't feel a super closeness to them. You really don't feel like you understand them truly. So that's really what made me not love them as much as I wanted to, but I did enjoy them. I do feel like Cyborg needed a little bit more development to understand him, and the special effects on him sometimes would look good, sometimes wouldn't look so great. It was like on and off, but for the most part, after a while when you're watching this film, you get used to the way they have him look. So after a while, he looks good. Do I prefer the way he looked in Teen Titans and some of his other comic book versions? Yes. But you know what? This was fine. I liked it. I got used to it. It grew on me. Also, let's talk about the villain, Stefan Wolf. He wasn't that strong of a villain. I feel like a lot of superhero movies on the Marvel side and the DC side can sometimes suffer from this. He was just your typical bad guy trying to take over the world for a bigger, badder villain. They mention him in this movie a little bit, Darkseid. So this is all just leading up to that. But he wasn't that great of a villain. It wasn't anything like, wow, that was really, you're gonna forget about him in 2 seconds. Nothing that I could remember. Just like some of the Marvel villains, like I said, in their movies. So the villain was a little eh. And the story was extremely predictable. And not that that was necessarily bad, but it really played it safe, this film. Really nothing special that happened. Nothing to really make this movie stand out from anything else. But I guess it wasn't terrible. I still had a good time with the story. It's just that I wish they would have done something a little bit better. It just felt very by the books. This was a very safe film, while I understand because this is the very first Justice League live action film. So I understand why they did that, so I'm going to give them some leeway with that. The story wasn't too great. It was very simple by the books, like I said. But another person I got to talk about is J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. While we didn't get that much of him, he was really cool. I gotta admit, he was a pretty good actor. He was really he obviously is a good actor, but he was really good as the part. I would have loved to see a little bit more with him, just so I could get a little bit more of a taste of what J.K. Simmons has to bring to Commissioner Gordon. But you know what? It was good. I enjoyed that. And like I said, this film also had a lot more comedy that I'm used to in a DC film, and I liked that. I was very happy. The tone was great. They were all quipping. There were a lot of funny moments, lighthearted, more colorful than any of the previous DC films, which is great. So I loved all of that. So the next thing I want to talk about is the action in this movie and the cinematography. This movie was filmed great. Zack Snyder has an eye for detail, and he knows how to make an action scene. All the action scenes in this movie were entertaining, were really intense, and they kept you smiling, and you were just into it the entire time. It was great. This was popcorn type action where you're sitting there having a smile on your face, loving these characters, and just fanboying out a little bit. Seeing them be badass is great, and this film did that perfectly. I loved all the action scenes, and the way this movie was filmed was great. Cinematography was awesome. Had a great time with that. And then let's talk about Superman. Henry Cavill's Superman. I'm not going to go into detail on how they bring him back. We all knew he was going to come back with the Batman v Superman tease, but I will talk about it a little bit. I won't spoil anything on how he does. The way they did it, in my opinion, could have been done a little bit better. It felt very rushed. It felt like they were really just like, we have to bring, and boom, that's it. And I was just like, I guess so. That could have been built up a little bit more, maybe have it be more dramatic, but instead it was just kind of like, boom, boom. But it did lead to a really good scene. So you know what, I'm not going to complain too much about it. I just felt like it was a little bit rushed. And that's pretty much also the other flaw about this movie. It felt very rushed, which is why I felt so safe. It felt like such a safe movie because I feel like they wanted to catch up to Marvel and come out with their Justice League film. And you know what? Even though it does feel rushed, the story isn't too amazing. This movie doesn't blow my mind with special effects or anything. This movie was still a good movie, a good time. It really did have the tone I wanted, the fun I wanted, the characters I wanted, the special effects I wanted, the action, the cinematography. I wasn't expecting something that was Oscar winning out of this movie because a lot of these team up movies like the Avengers and Justice League and all these other things, while they are great at their own thing and they are wonderful to watch, they aren't the ones that are supposed to be the Winter Soldiers, the more dramatic, the more intense movies. They're supposed to be the ones that are just fun, action-packed, and just fanboy time. Time to just sit there and have a good time and see your heroes be awesome. And that's what this movie did. It succeeded in that 100%. It just didn't do it maybe as much as I wanted to. I wanted to go a step further in the story, do a better, maybe a better villain, and I wanted to see it just propel itself, make it stand out a little bit more, but it really didn't. But that's in no way saying that this movie is bad. Guys, if you are a huge DC fan, you're going to be happy with this movie. If you are a superhero fan and you like going to see these movies, you're also not going to be disappointed. Guys, at the end of the day, Justice League, while not perfect, was still an extremely fun time, and I cannot wait for them to move this universe onward in the future, to see them develop these characters even more. Now that we have the Justice League movie, take your time to Justice League 2. Do not rush to it. Build up the characters you have. You have good characters now. You have The Flash. You have Cyborg. You have Aquaman. You could bring in Green Lantern. Bring out all these movies. Let us grow a closeness to these characters that we care so much about. And then, after we develop another relationship with all of these guys, along with maybe a Man of Steel 2 and a standalone Batman film, then give us the Justice League 2 we deserve, with all the character development that we've had building up to it, and let us love it. Let it be awesome. Push it beyond its limits, and give us the best Justice League movie we deserve. But guys, this was definitely a great first try. I had a really good time. At the end of the day, Justice League gets a solid B+ from me, guys. Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want to know what you guys thought. I want to know what some of you hardcore DC fans thought. I want to know what superhero fans thought. Even some of you Marvel guys thought. I want to know what everyone thinks about this film. Because at the end of the day, I want to see these characters succeed on the big screen. So, that's my review for Justice League. I hope you guys enjoyed it. My Battlefront 2 review is coming out soon. I've beaten the campaign. I'm putting some more time into the multiplayer, so give me a break. I'm trying to get there. And I'm also going to be watching the Punisher series on Netflix when it comes out, so I'm going to be giving a review for that. So I'm trying to get these things all out, but I wanted to at least make sure I got this Justice League review out right away. And man, I'm happy. I'm having a really good time, and I hope you guys that saw it enjoyed it as well. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.